Greetings and welcome to episode 6 of Around the Table Wrestling Scoops. I'm Tyler Peters from WRESTLEBUDDY.com, and I am joined by the Insider on behalf of the Wrestling Blog. This program talks everything related to wrestling news. And before we get going into the conversation anymore, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's so lovely to have you back. And hey, it's hard to believe we're already at episode 6. I mean, time is flying by like it normally does. And let's just get right into the what we're here to talk about, what everybody's desiring to know from our insider. What's the latest regarding Brock versus Cody? What can you tell us about this development?
Well, as of right now, that's the main plan for, to take place during the summer, Brock versus Cody. There were talks about doing it on Money in the Bank, but they feel like Money in the Bank is not that big of a pay-per-view to take place. But, because it's on UK and everything, they feel like they can do it. But they want to do it in a big scenario. So the other possibility would be SummerSlam.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that they would, save it for SummerSlam. And my next question, because that pretty much sums that one up. Did Natalya suffer an injury during Night of Champions? Was that legitimate? What are your sources?
Okay, so the thing I can say about this is I don't have any confirmation about a legit injury during the match against Rhea Ripley. I can tell you it was always planned to be a squash match. The entire time it was going to be a squash, from what I heard. I did hear that before and after the match. They told me it's going to be a squash match. I'm like, when you say squash, you mean like 5 minutes? They were like, no, less than 3 minutes. Less than 3 or 4 minutes.
It was a way to build up Rhea Ripley. She has just separated herself from the pack, and she's such a headliner, meaning star, and being the SmackDown Women's Champion. It shows you the value they have in Rhea Ripley. Nothing against Natalya, but it makes her just look more superior. So, I had no problem with her squashing Natty, even if it was on her birthday, with all due respect. But I'm glad to see maybe that she's not actually injured. We just didn't know. We're always hearing so many different things, but I'm glad you're saying there's not confirmation, so maybe all is okay.
Yeah, I have not heard anything about any injury from Natalya. She might be injured, she might not. We would have to wait until a confirmation from the company. That's why
patience is a virtue for us all.
That's what I tell. Sorry about that. That's what I tell everybody. We will have to wait confirmation from the company. I don't like to give details about, yes, this person is injured. No. Let's just leave WWE confirm or deny that if somebody's injured. And it's been, 5 days already? I think.
Yeah, it's already been close to a week, especially by now.
It's almost been a week already, and they haven't said anything about Natalya possibly being injured during the match. So that pretty much say a lot that she might not be injured unless they're still, evaluating and everything. Because if I recall, I did not see her on Monday Night Raw this past week.
Well, I did not see her either. Maybe just taking a break. And a lot of us, and I'm guilty, we assume because we're reading different articles, the various publications, just assuming that somebody's got to be injured just because they miss. And that's not always the case. So I'm glad you summarized that so nicely there.
And you know how I am on Twitter, brother. You seen all my tweets and
we know. I mean, if anybody has watched past episodes, we understand your feelings toward Twitter.
I like to inform people, but I don't like confirm nothing until I get confirmation. And trust me, I've been asking all week, you got any update on Natalya? You got anything? All they say is, we have not heard anything about Natalya being injured. She was not on Raw, and she was not backstage, just so you know. She was not. There was a lot of people that was not on Raw and they were not backstage. But I do got to say this. Probably this week, that's coming up, or maybe the following week, will be the last week for a lot of wrestlers taking breaks from the company. This is some news I didn't tell you. I haven't posted it because WWE doesn't want to risk, having more people getting injured. They want everybody available. Because now,
it makes sense.
Now the news broke down that Braun Strowman is out with an injury with a concussion, and by the information that's going around, it might be serious. We don't know yet. And now they don't want to give everybody a break because a lot of people, they like take some time during the summer just to hang out with their kids, with the family.
Correct.
I understand it, but right now WWE is in a situation that they're like against the wall because we got people out with pregnancies, we got people out with injuries. We don't have that much thing to do, so the only thing we can do is not give everybody a break. And there was people that requested breaks and everything, and they, from what I heard, they already denied those breaks.
Yeah, it's very riveting for sure, and we wish all the ones that are injured nothing but the best. And I was going to ask you about Braun Strowman as well, so you answered that already. Let's move on to maybe some more positive news. Not that that's always negative, because injuries are going to be part of it. Tell everybody these high probabilities concerning the Money in the Bank winner possibly cashing in as soon as SummerSlam.
Okay, so this is like a complicated topic right now because it's like on the air, backstage, because they want to do a successful cash in this year. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of people backstage, for what I'm hearing, they are already annoyed and pissed about how the history of Money in the Bank briefcase has been lately. And Tyler, I gotta agree, it's been shit. Like the history of the cashing on Money in the Bank for the men's has been completely dog shit. We had Austin Theory. I don't know who came up with this idea. Obviously, Vince, of cashing in on the United States title. I did not.
Well, that's where I disagree, and I'm not meaning to cut you off. I think Austin Theory. I didn't really have a problem with him cashing in, on the United States title. A lot of people are going to have their perspective. I just respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I know.
But
the way I see it is because they did it because Roman Reigns has both titles now, so we don't have any choice. He cannot still have a clean loss yet because they're trying to save that for later on. So yeah, let's see, just go for the United States title. That we got nothing else to do. That was the main reason. But it's Money in the Bank. If you're the winner of Money in the Bank, that means you're gonna go for the big picture, right, Tyler?
Oh, you're right. I would my argument would be regarding Austin Theory and the United States title is, to me, it helped elevate him. He's other than Gunther, he's probably one of the few examples that really became a main man from NXT under the main roster while Vince McMahon was still head of creative or still involved heavily in the process.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I remember when Otis won the Money in the Bank on 2020, and everybody was saying, "Oh, they're gonna go for the tag team titles." I'm like, if they do that, oh my god, that would be the most stupidest decision. Come on, it's Money in the Bank. It means you're gonna go for the big picture. You're gonna go for the main title, and then you're just gonna downgrade, go for the tag team titles. And
but
I was
let me just.
Yeah.
No, continue. I was just going to have this counterpoint to the argument.
Yeah, I was.
So, why does it have to be a world title, though? It could be for tag titles, United States title, Intercontinental titles. I think we kind of get too lost in the world heavyweight title picture. I get that's the prize, but don't you want to value your other titles? That would be another question, really, on top of multiple questions you could have in a conversation as it relates to this Money in the Bank winner, whether it's for the women's division or a men's division. And I'll let you continue. I did not mean to cut you off. I just wanted to kind of bring up that perspective.
No, you're right about that. But the problem is, if we look at the history of Money in the Bank briefcase, history tells us the winner is going to go for the main title. So if they're going to keep doing that about, having somebody going for a United States title, an Intercontinental title, or probably a, tag team titles, they might as well rebrand it and make it look a way that it doesn't only look like, all right, he won Money in the Bank, he's going to go for the main title. Just rebrand it, make it something or explain something. Okay, guys, just because he won Money in the Bank doesn't mean he's going to go for the main title. He can go for any title he wants. Because, I know I was not the only one that I was annoyed, pissed, and confused when Austin Theory last year, he cashed in for the United States title.
I can tell.
Like, everybody was like, what just happened here? He is Mr. Money in the Bank, and he just cashed in on the United States title. Like, you get what I mean, right? Like,
it came as a shot.
Yeah, like, if you're going to keep doing this, like, you want to change things around, you just got to clarify, like, he is Mr. Money in the Bank, but he can go for any title.
Well, hey, kind of switching to AEW news for just a little bit, because we want to respect some other promotions, not just WWE. How do you feel about Jade Cargill losing her TBS Women's title, or I should say the TBS Women's title, to Chris Statlander, who, speaking of returning from injuries, I mean, what were your feelings going in toward that kind of booking decision?
So I saw the pay-per-view on Sunday, and I can tell you, I was eating pizza and I was shocked as hell. I'm like, what the hell? She's 16-0, 400 days or something of the TBS champion. It just went like that in a matter of minutes.
You think they lost some faith in Jade Cargill? And I know that's going to sound like a neurotic question to pose, but you often wonder, or maybe just something as simple as, hey, we just wanted a title change to kind of swerve everybody. I mean, there's different ways to look at it.
How can I say this? I don't want to say that she was downgraded, like, drastically about her losing the title, but I would say it was not the right time. It was not the right time, I feel like there was a better way and a better time to her lose the title.
Let me ask you this. It's a follow-up to the previous question. Do you feel like AEW wanted Jade Cargill to chase somebody like Chris Statlander? Maybe it's a way to get Statlander some momentum since she did reemerge at Double or Nothing. It was a way to get her into a hot program. It's one of your major pay-per-views, and it's just a way to position Statlander to an even more headline level, because that women's division, they've got talent, certainly. But having someone, like Statlander and a Jade Cargill and a Taya Valkyrie, I mean, who lost evidently, and that's what caused the open challenge afterwards. I didn't actually get to see the event, but I know you did and others, and I definitely heard about it. You can just get on Twitter or social media and find out the results. But anyways, getting back to Chris Statlander and why Jade Cargill, kind of the loss, and maybe kind of see the direction AEW wants to go with the TBS Women's title picture. Maybe it's a way to get Chris Statlander in a more, polarizing spot where she's got a championship, and it's a way to reward some of the other talent that's been there, because they may have rushed Jade Cargill a little bit, which I understand. She's got the look. She may be green, but she's getting better. I've heard people use the Goldberg comparison for a woman, because this undefeated streak, regardless. I mean, just what do you think? I mean, what are your thoughts overall in general? I'm just kind of, drawing some hypothesis, if you will.
It's just like I say, and it was like, I feel like it was too early. Like, it was not the right time for her to lose the title. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it felt odd. And like, and that open challenge they did, it felt like kind of weird. I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, it just like it did not fit the scenario of her hitting 60-0, and then we're having an open challenge. It's like it didn't make sense at all.
Here's where I come from it at. It's just all about shock value. Now, you can have too much surprises, and we're not just talking about people appearing, even stipulations. I mean, it really entails a lot of intricacies within professional wrestling, and you can overdo it. But in this case, I don't know that I have a problem with it. I know people on social media, just the World Wide Web, are up in arms because how can you do it to Jade Cargill? And I'm saying this with all due respect to Cargill as well, by preferencing my statement. I just feel like Chris Statlander's kind of new. She's fresh. I mean, how long before the undefeated streak kind of dies down and becomes a little dull and boring? I mean, they tried to experiment with Wardlow. No offense, I know it's different creative in a sense, but there you could draw the similarities that, hey, listen, and maybe they messed up on it. Is why they had to kind of go back. Who knows? It's very interesting to wonder about.
I mean, with Wardlow, the situation is completely different, because the TNT title at this point has lost reputation. Like, it's just a hot potato. Like we've been saying all this time on the podcast, the TNT title has been like a hot potato. But the TBS, I feel like it had more prestige than the TNT title.
Because they weren't switching as much. And now I could see your point of view and respect it. That it has been kind of, speaking of the TNT title, they switched it so many times. But I disagree. Wardlow probably lost steam, and they were booking him well, and people are questioning the Christian feud. I think Christian has done, though, some of his best work. I'm not saying comparing WWE. Don't get me wrong, and I don't want a lot of the fellow wrestling fans to hear me incorrectly. I just think Christian he's what Wardlow needs, though. You need this guy that is smarty. He's, like you said, you see him kind of, he's underhanded. I mean, Christian just does all these kind of characteristics so well. So I'm trying to look at the positive and not always the negative, and where can we go with a rivalry? And now, to be fair, I did not get to see the ladder match with Wardlow and Christian. And now I'm not sure I'm buying the whole Luchasaurus deal, but maybe they're pairing those two together because Christian, naturally has the experience. He's able to hopefully teach Luchasaurus a lot, and that's why they got Arn Anderson with Wardlow. I'm just very fascinated by how Christian has reinvented himself. So no disregard to Wardlow. I guess I'm getting more immersed in what Christian's been able to do, whether it's been Impact, AEW, or WWE. And I'm not trying to say, that his WWE career, that probably was the best of what Christian's career has, entailed. It's just, you can't deny what he was able to do, reinvent himself in Impact and now with AEW. And it just goes to show you they need some good heels. And what's that tell you about their roster? Christian Cage, let's give him a lot of credit and compliment, his attributes and what he's been able to achieve during his time in All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, we just gotta see what's gonna be the plan from now on with the new TBS Women Champion. We just gotta see what Tony Khan is cooking. Just like people are saying all over social media, we gotta see what is his current plan for Jade Cargill now that she lost the title. But I can see her going for the main title now. Not gonna lie.
I can't too. And hey, maybe that's the point. Now she can be a top contender.
Maybe we
going against Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, maybe we can see her at London all out. Who knows?
And that would be a big match. You can say what you want to about the limitations of Cargill, but she's improved. I mean, she has came a long way. Now she's got a lot more to go.
Now about the main women's title, I'm having a lot of conflicts because the last 3 wrestlers that have been holding the AEW women's title, they lost the title because of injuries. And like that, I don't know. That really makes me kind of, I don't know. It feels kind of
Makes
odd.
you worried.
Yeah, it makes me worry. Like, come on, we had Jay Hater. She had to lose the title on Sunday because of an injury. We had Thunder Rosa. She lost the title. She relinquished because of an injury. And then I think it was Dr. Bray Breaker before, and she lost the title too because she was injured. Like, every time a woman lose the title is because they're injured.
Injury prone, and it's unfortunate and very sad because a lot of women have had to. Yeah, Thunder Rosa is a prime illustration. I'd like to see her back in the title picture as well. You think of what they could do with whether they want to rehash the past or not, especially between her and Dr. Britt Baker.
And not gonna
But
lie,
I think we need some new.
Yeah.
We need some new contention, though. No offense to the good doctor, we need some newer people. And she's,
and
to her credit, I mean, Jamie Hayter has been somebody fresh, and I'm happy for Jamie getting the opportunity to carry possibly that women's division. You need somebody you can establish within your company that's not necessarily a former WWE talent. And to Britt Baker's defense, she is really kind of an AEW original. You think about it, that's who sells tickets, whether people are big supporters or not. So, but you go ahead because you had something very important, and I don't want to cut you off out of respect. We want to hear from the insiders.
Yeah, I don't know if you have noticed this, but I'm talking about the AEW Championship and the AEW Women's Championship. Every time that somebody wins a title, they get injured. I don't know if it's a curse of AEW or something like that, but
it's hope not, but it sure looks that way.
It's like it's telling me, oh, you won the title, you're gonna get injured. And I'm hoping it doesn't happen to.
Do you really want to be the women's champion if you're gonna,
or you want to
get hurt all the time?
Like MJF, he got injured. Like, he's been wrestling injured. Everybody knows that.
No, he did.
CM Punk, he was a 2-time AEW champion. He got injured both times after he won the title, and he got surgery both times. John Moxley, he won the title 2 times and he got injured 2 times, but he kept wrestling. Chris Jericho, he won the title at the beginning and he got injured off his knee. I think it was his knee, yeah. Hangman Page, he got injured. Kenny Omega, he got injured. Like, all these people win the title at AEW, they get injured.
There's a reoccurring theme here.
Like, yeah, it's just like, he lost the title. He was injured. He wins the title. He gets injured at the end of the reign. Like, they all get, and it's not like storyline injuries or anything. No. It's legit injuries.
Oh yeah, nobody's questioning the severity of those injuries. No doubt.
Yeah, you get what I mean, right? It's just like, so
there's a stigma. You called it a curse to being a champion, whether it's on the men's side or the women's side. Both of them.
It doesn't matter. It's both main title. Whoever wins, they end up getting injured. MJF, he got injured. You saw how nasty.
I mean, they do.
You saw how nasty his eye was and everything. Like, you saw that like a couple months ago.
Oh, it was really bad. But speaking of AEW news, I guess it's pretty obvious. We've discussed it. CM Punk, I mean, Tony Khan made it official. Of course, we should have known by him saying, hey, the first AEW Collision show is going to emanate from the United Center Live in Chicago, Illinois, and that's the hometown. And where CM Punk first debuted, what was it? Did they call it the Last Dance? That may have been the Bulls documentary, but they were kind of tying it in. I didn't get that correct. I'm sure somebody will correct me out there on Twitter, and that'll be fine. Hey, mistakes happen, and maybe you can. But I do know he showed up on that Rampage when it was in Chicago, and I think they're hoping for the reaction to be even greater. And I can tell you, there's still a large portion of even the AEW audience that has yearned for CM Punk to return. I know Jimmy Bebe at WrestleBuddy has got to be ecstatic. To be quite honest, I've been pretty open, even though I've had mixed stances on it, and I don't want to seem like or sound like a broken record, pardon me. But tell us your feelings about it becoming a real thing, that CM Punk is coming back. Did we have any doubts once the dust settled a little bit after all this scrum nonsense, and maybe we got worked and it was legitimate, no question, but they worked it kind of into a a good storyline, or if they were clever, they would. I'm not saying that they're not, but this makes for just tremendous television.
Not gonna be honest. At the beginning, when they announced AEW Collision, and the rumors were the CM Punk was gonna come back, I was hyped. But then they did the announcement last night that yes, CM Punk is gonna be there the first episode. I completely lost the hype. I'm like, you all should have saved it, as a surprise. Even though people were speculating and everything, but you literally just killed the hype, And I can tell you right now, the tickets are completely sold out. After the announcement, the tickets were sold out.
Not surprised at all. Especially when you announce CM Punk's going to be in Chicago. Those two are what a perfect marriage and perfect storm, in other words. What also, speaking of CM Punk.
Yeah, but for me, I think it killed the hype. It killed the hype of CM Punk coming back at AEW. They should have just keep.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up and I'll let you progress further on. Not meaning to interrupt you. I was just going to insert this real quickly. CM Punk, I think announcements, going back to the topic of him, I think Tony Khan making these announcements, it does ruin the surprise factor, but you wonder if because you get all the dirt sheets, all the wrestling community already, finding their sources, and I'm not even saying that to knock anybody. It's just the reality, especially in today's environment. Maybe he felt compelled to declare, hey, CM Punk's going to be returning. I might as well just go ahead and tell you. But I do agree there is something very special when you can shock the audiences, even if they know it's coming. So I can kind of see both sides, and I want to kind of defend Tony Khan because I know it's easy to critique him. So I want to actually try to find out where he's coming from with all these announcements. I know they get annoying. Trust me. I kind of and it's a announcement every week concerning Dynamite. It gets a little monotonous. But maybe I see his point.
Let's be honest. Most likely, he's going to have another announcement next Wednesday. Let's be honest.
It could be.
We're probably joking about it, but come on. Most likely, tomorrow or Saturday, breaking news, Tony Khan has an important announcement on Wednesday. Don't miss AEW Dynamite. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you this as a point of view, but people from WWE are looking at it this way. They are doing this for views. There's been talks for what.
Well, sure they are.
For what I heard, people backstage they've been not joking about it, but they've been saying that all this announcement every single week is just to drag views. And they told me they mentioned to me if WWE would have done that, people would be disagreeing. People would be disagreeing with it, but it's AEW. Nobody can say nothing because
let's face it. Whether there was the locker room culture didn't want to see CM Punk, in fact, return, or a large segments of that audience, or even WWE fans, because a lot of people would actually share on social media they didn't care, for even friends of mine, and I respect their point of view. However, my argument would be whether you like CM Punk or not, he draws eyes to your product, so it makes perfect sense why you would have him come back regardless of what happened behind the scenes and all the drama.
No, you're not wrong. It does, right? But, you shouldn't just save it. You shouldn't say none. Because, come on, let's be honest. Why would you announce that CM Punk was going to come back? Everybody knew already. You're just doing. I see where you're coming from. You're just doing it just for ticket sale or just because get views. But let's be honest, everybody at this point knew as soon as you announced that AEW Collision was going to be at Chicago, even though they didn't announce it, but everybody knew because of the leaks and everything, because by accident, the United Arena, they announced it weeks ahead. That's why they had to announce it right away. Everybody knew that CM Punk was going to be there because, come on, let's be honest, you're not just going to do the first episode of AEW Collision at Chicago.
And you need a star. And no offense to FTR, they are tremendous.
You're just
and
not
Thunder Rosa and Miro, but you need CM Punk.
Yeah, but you're just not gonna do a random episode, a debuting episode at Chicago. Come on, you're just not gonna do that.
Without having the Second City Saint. The guy
Exactly.
that man, he's polarizing, so why not? And hey, he's got a lot of fans. I mean, Jim Ross has been a big proponent. I think even Jade Cargill spoke highly in an interview. Credit to another podcast where she spoke very highly regarding CM Punk. So he's got a lot of people that are backing him up. And we don't really know. I mean, let's face it. It's easy to speculate, but who knows what meetings? I mean, we've heard the rumors of Jericho and Punk actually possibly sitting down and the meetings between Punk and Tony Khan. So it seems like things are getting smoothed over, and I mean it's evidently apparent because he is coming back at Collision. And yes, we'll go on with the interview portion and with our great insider. And I'll tell you what, here's a question I wanted to ask you, and it's a tantalizing one, and I hope you can educate us all with our audience. But speaking of Friday Night SmackDown, Roman Reigns with this, 1,000-day celebration, are we going to see any surprises? We've heard the rumor in the name of Rikishi floating around. Is there any validity that we'll see any kind of bloodline relatives that will partake or maybe interrupt this big-time celebration concerning the tribal chief Roman Reigns as he celebrates, it's been actually past 1,000 days. Carl, second you share with us.
All right, how can I say this? I have not heard anything about, Rikishi be there at SmackDown. I have not heard anything. I did heard that they are very focused the celebration of 1,000 days of Roman Reigns being champion, but there haven't been any discussion of Rikishi possibly being there at the celebration. I haven't heard anything, but I do gotta tell you, this about Rikishi doing the tweets and everything, that has nothing to do. I heard that was just random. That was not part from WWE telling him, "Hey, do this."
Okay.
But they are very aware. Like fans are like, "Oh, he might come. He might not show up. He might show up." But I don't believe
it's the anticipation, is it not? Just because we're fans.
I don't believe he's gonna be there. I don't. I could be wrong.
That's disappointing because I was really hoping we'd see Rikishi or somebody, another Bloodline member that's a legend that would come back, since we got Jimmy turning on Roman back at Night of Champions, and seeing this all unravel, these cracks, this dissension that's intertwined within the Bloodline story and the faction itself.
I'm just saying as my point of view because I have not heard anything about Rikishi being there. It's Thursday already, and I haven't get any information about, hey, Rikishi's going to be there. I have not heard.
You would think you would be getting updates or hearing from the sources by now,
as
we are recording.
Unless they're trying to save it as a surprise, because I can tell you, lately they've been trying to change things around backstage, or on how to distribute the news, like the information between people and all this. I'm not talking about us, the sources. I'm talking about how they distribute the information backstage. Like, for example, like the winner of Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes for this past Saturday, nobody knew. Nobody knew.
And I like that, by the way. I don't think we always need to know. I'm glad they are taking this stance.
Yeah, nobody knew about it. And another example would be Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre when they went to Clash of the Castle, right? That was another example. Nobody knew backstage until, I think it was, for what I heard, it was like 1 hour before their match started.
We don't need to know. Let us enjoy the match and
Like,
actually be either surprised, or even if we know the result, at least give us a reason to be invested.
yeah, for what I heard, only a select group of people they knew who was gonna win, but not everybody. So I'm liking this, all right. I kind of like this that people are, yes, let's keep doing it this way. Let's just keep the momentum because let's be honest, the leaks are killing it. Like yes,
Oh, it ruins it, and hey, we're all guilty in some way, some fashion.
even me,
We got to stop and just enjoy the process.
even me, I'm guilty too. I can blame it because I do gotta pass the information and all the stuff. But going back to the topic, the things I have heard about the 1000 day, they are very focused on it. The Usos are scheduled to be a SmackDown. Solo is scheduled to be a SmackDown. But I have not heard if the Usos are going to be at the program. They are scheduled to be backstage. They are scheduled to
Fascinating.
They are scheduled to be a SmackDown. But I have not heard if, yes, they're going to be at SmackDown. They're going to have a match. Yes, they're going to be a SmackDown. They're going to be at the 1000 day celebration. All I heard was the entire Bloodline is scheduled to be a SmackDown. That's all. So now we gotta wait and see, the rundown and everything to see if they're all gonna be at the same time or they're gonna be different places and all the stuff.
Well, hey, this is why we have you on with us, and we're doing this collaboration because you can break down, how these details are concerning rumors and all the speculation that's going around and transpiring, in other words, according to the wrestling news. But let's switch gears a little bit. I mean, not just discuss Roman Reigns. I mean, he definitely deserves that honor, but let's go to some other WWE possible encounters that we could be seeing. What might fans, speaking to the fan expectation, let me correct myself in that question, because you shared this with me off air that possibly you're hearing Edge versus Karrion Kross, maybe Bray versus Cody. I still believe it's going to be Cody versus Lesnar. I mean, what are your expectations? What are you able to tell us with regards to these, new potential feuds with SummerSlam?
Okay, let's get into details. First thing first.
Yeah, let's do it.
First thing first, Edge versus Karrion Kross. It has been discussed. It has been talked. It has been mentioned backstage and everything, but no official decision has been made. It hasn't been made, but the talks are there. They've been there and they've been mentioning, let's try to do Karrion Kross versus Edge. And people support it, but the main problem is, Karrion Kross is not getting the fan reaction. So I feel like they don't want to
see. Can we just talk about that a little bit? I think that's such a shame.
Yeah, but let me
because there was so much hope. But yeah, I'll let you go ahead.
So the thing is, they don't want to pull the trigger and do Karrion Kross versus Edge and then have no fan reaction. There's support backstage. They want to do it, but the concern is the fan reaction. That's the main, yeah, they are kind of worried.
The crowd's not responding as favorably as they were when he first returned after Triple H was bringing back a lot of the talent that got released the last time. And you would think with Scarlett and Karrion Kross, the way their presentation, I don't know, maybe that's just not resonating to a lot of the WWE universe, but even to the fans outside of WWE where he was, in these other promotions, whether it be MLW or Impact for a long time. I mean, you could see the potential was there. I mean, even his time in NXT, it's just so unfortunate for a lot of these superstars. And man, Karrion Kross and Scarlett have the it factor, but obviously it's not getting conveyed to the audience, and sometimes it's all part of the connection, and it's terrible to think that's been such a miss and kind of mishandled according to who you talk to. I'm not necessarily saying that, but you have to wonder with the creative there. Why can't you get them over? I mean, they were over at one time, but it's like the blooms came off the rose, or so to speak. And I don't know. It's hard to fathom why a talent like Karen Cross, and especially talents to make it plural with both he and Scarlett. I mean, she's a bombshell. I mean, he's got the look too, and I mean, and they've got all the tools. Maybe it's just what's happening in the ring, but I still think he does pretty darn well inside the squared circle.
I don't know what it is about fans against certain wrestlers. Look, I don't hate wrestlers, alright? If I don't like it, I don't like the way they're,
I don't either.
anyway, the way that they're handling. But I don't think it's because the fans are not liking him. I'm not liking Karen Cross. I believe the problem is the way they're booking Karen Cross. I believe it's the way that they're booking Bronson Reed. I believe it's the way they're booking Johnny Gargano. It's not their fault. It's the fault of we gotta do it. It's the fault of creative team.
There has to be some blame on the creative. It's hard to disagree with your point there. But switching gears. Hey, when can we expect Ciampa? We hear the rumors of Big E, others returning back to WWE. I mean, is there any way you can kind of break this one down? Or, I mean, when can we see, how soon maybe is the way to word the question, or are we going to see a lot of these competitors reemerge within the company or with the company?
Hey, Tyler, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the whole question again? Because my
Yes, I can.
my
No,
signal.
you're fine. I need to repeat it anyway, so it's a good retake. No, my question would be, when can we expect Ciampa, Big E, and others back in WWE?
Okay, so about Ciampa, I think he's gonna be ready for the summer. They're waiting up updates and confirmation about if he's gonna be ready or not for the summer, but I believe he's gonna be. Regarding BE, I don't think there's a return date yet. They're hoping that he could be ready for later on of the year.
I sure hope so. I'm a big fan.
But for what I'm hearing, he might not be ready for this year. But WWE is positive. That a lot of people that are out with injuries, that they could potentially be ready for the for the summer or late 2023.
I gotcha. Well, and getting back to the big events this past weekend, any favorite matches stand out from either Night of Champions or Double or Nothing, or maybe both to you?
So from Double or Nothing, I would say the 4-pillar match.
I heard nothing but positive things
It was
about that match.
I was expecting things, but it went over the limit of how things went. Like hearing MJF screaming all the match, like cursing, saying "What the fuck," and getting suplexed, and like all the stuff. MJF being MJF, seeing Darby Allin,
Sure.
seeing Darby Allin going crazy mode, like going over the barricade, like all the stuff. Sammy Guevara, he was amazing. I have never seen Sammy going that level. I haven't seen him in a while. And Jungle Boy, he really surprised me the way he performed. Like I was really surprised, and I was satisfied the way the match went. And on Night of Champion, I would have to pick 2 matches of Night of Champion. It would be Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, and the main event Roman Solo versus Sammy and Kevin Owens. Like Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, the match was a perfect way to open the show. Now, don't get me
It's
wrong.
great.
Now, don't get me wrong. I was against it. All right, I was like, you just introduced a new title. Like,
We know you were.
why would you throw it in? Why would you throw it on opening? Like, it should be the main event. Blah blah blah. But it was a perfect way to open the show. All right, new champion, new title, an amazing match, and then you have Roman Solo and Sammy and Kevin Owens on the main event going over 25 minutes. Then you get the Usos involved. Everything went downhill. Like, it was an amazing way to open the show. It was an amazing way to close the show. Like, from a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 10. Like, it was an amazing way to close the show. And AEW, yeah, it has solid matches. Yeah, it has some awkward matches, but the main event was solid.
Yeah, I can't debate you, as far as Night of Champions. With all due respect, I still got to go watch AEW Double or Nothing. But hey, I'm sure the main event was what you were conveying to all of us, including myself. I heard nothing but just tremendous, terrific things, even about the Four Pillars matchup. And the one spot I do want to check out, each of them replicated the finisher to the wrestlers that were mentors to each of them. So I thought that was a nice touch. I did get to see a picture or see a segment or somebody was discussing it. It seemed to be a trending thing, rightfully so.
Oh, it was, I saw that spot too. And I was like, oh my God, MJF doing the crossroad, like doing Cody Rhodes finisher. Like, it was
No, he was.
It was an amazing main event. I cannot deny you that. It was a very amazing main event. I underestimated the main event. I was like, yeah, it's the Four Pillar, the story has been cooking there.
Right.
It's been developing. I'm not going to expect a lot, but it was a very good main event. And MJF, people can love him, people can hate him, people can say whatever he wants. He was being MJF the entire time. The entire match, he was being MJF. He was cursing the fans.
Man draws.
He was cursing at the fans. He was cursing at the opponents. He was even cursing at the ref. Like, he was just being MJF.
He knows how to make you believe is what you're saying. I mean, with his foul language and getting under the skin of not only the people, meaning the fans, but the officials, the referees, other wrestlers. It's all part of the story. But this guy lives the gimmick 24 hours a day, and that is something that has definitely been missing out of a lot of professional wrestling, and that goes for multiple promotions. MJF is the real deal, the real article, as they would say.
It is. Now, I want to talk about something, Tyler. I don't know if you
Yeah, you go ahead. Whatever I miss, I've got a few more, but you feel free. That's what it's about. It's a Q&A, but it's a discussion too.
I don't know if you look at the press conference after every pay-per-view of AEW and WWE. I don't know if you do that. I do.
I don't all the time, just because I either forget or I hear about it later.
I would recommend you to watch it because sometimes they drop teas and everything. So I would recommend you to start watching those. But
I will take you up on it.
Something interesting came up on this past Sunday when MJF was doing the press conference. He mentioned WWE.
Huh.
He
mentioned those letters, did he?
Yes. And Tony Khan was sitting right next to him. And I don't know if you saw the video. The video's all over Twitter. Like, he said, put some earplugs, Tony. Does Nick Khan want me to work for his fucking company? Absolutely. Does Triple H wants me to work for his company? Absolutely. And he said, he wouldn't mind working for WWE because he said that he is tired and exhausted of the wrestling community. Because he said, when I mean grab the ball and leave, he means retiring. Because, he said, I have completed everything. I'm 26 years old, 27, I don't remember. He said, I had completed everything. I'm champion. I'm the hottest wrestler right now. When I mean grab my ball and leave, I mean retire. I'm sick and tired of how the fans are against me and everything. And that's when he started mentioning WWE and everything. Start mentioning that his contract is expiring soon. And he mentioned it Tony's not gonna like this. He was not being character. He was being realistic. Everybody knows MJF contract is expiring soon. It's up soon.
That's coming up.
I'm gonna say this as a perspective as a fan. I don't believe MJF is gonna re-sign with AEW.
You think for sure he's going WWE?
I'm not gonna say WWE too.
Okay.
Here's what I believe. MJF is gonna ask a ton of money. He's gonna ask a ton of money.
He's going to use it as a bargaining chip.
Like he knows his value, right? He knows the fans loves him, the fans hates him. He knows his value. And
no, he does.
I don't know if Tony Khan can be a multi-billionaire and everything, but I just don't know if Tony is gonna get to that level to pay MJF. I've been having this discussion with some of my friends and co-workers and everything that they watch wrestling, and I told them, listen, Tony Khan can have all the money in the world he wants, but let's be honest, can he keep on the level of trying to convince MJF to stay on the company?
We'll just have to see.
He can tell him, you can hold the title for 10 years, and titles don't talk. Money talks, all right? And like, let's be honest, WWE and AEW, they're going to have a all-out war next year with all the free agents. Like, 2024 is the free agency. A lot of big names.
Who's the winner? MJF.
Like, yeah, it's going to be MJF because he's going to say, I don't need to go out for Luca company. They're all going to go for me. They're going to all come to me. They're going to all go asking me what I want. So I don't gotta go knocking at WWE's door. I don't gotta go to New Japan knocking at the door. He is not gonna be like other wrestlers. Hey, can I get my job back? You know what I mean, right?
Oh, I understand totally where you're coming from.
MJF knows as soon as the news breaks down, MJF is officially a free agent. He knows his phone is not going to stop ringing. Everybody's going to be contacting him. Yo, how much you want? Yo, what you want? And that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Tony Khan is going to be able to keep MJF. He can offer him, I can give you the title for 10 years. Just stay with us. It's not about titles. It's about money. And he has...
about the moolah.
People are saying he's being character. No, he's being legit. He multiple times has said on podcasts, I know when I'm the character and I know when I'm MJF. I know when I'm Maxwell. It's all about the money. I don't care about titles.
It's a good possibility, though, that Tony Khan will realize some things, and maybe, I'm sure he already does, to his credit, that he can re-sign MJF, and I'm sure WWE is definitely interested. I mean, who wouldn't be? You look at his value, what he can bring.
Look, he can do it, but you just got to keep in mind, you got Kenny Omega, you got the John Bucks, you got Dr. Britt Baker, you got Samoa Joe, you got all these wrestlers that are going to be free agents on 2024.
You got a lot of potential candidates, and who's to say that Kenny Omega might not end up in WWE or some, maybe go back to New Japan. But it seems more likely, since he's done that, been there, done that. No offense to New Japan, but that he would possibly try the WWE waters out a little bit.
And let's be honest, Kenny Omega is on his last run. He's almost done because he said he doesn't want to do this until he's 50 years old. Kenny's 39. He's just swimming where the current goes.
Well, it seems to me like he's thinking at it very clearly is the word I was looking for there, that some of these guys tend to go too long, and he sees the toll that it takes on your body. So that's actually been a wise man, pardon the pun with Paul Heyman, but the line of thinking that Kenny is having there, we're talking about Kenny Omega here. But I still would, I would be anxious to see how he would do or fare in the WWE environment. But maybe he thrives more with AEW, their style, or some other promotion, because that's more where Kenny can be himself. A lot equates to how Will Ospreay sees himself.
Look, I would say next year is an all-out war for both company and New Japan, because New Japan has major free agency too. Like, not gonna lie, I haven't seen a year where big companies have a lot of free agency. It's just like one in a lifetime, all right? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
let's not forget about New Japan either. I'm glad you brought them up because it's easy just to talk WWE or AEW, even Impact, or
like I
and
don't
let's
even,
not forget like NWA or New Japan as well.
I don't even remember a time where WCW and WWE have a lot of free agency at the same time. I don't even remember. Like 2024, in my opinion, is gonna be a once in a lifetime regarding free
We're
agency.
still going to be talking in regards to the year
Because
2024, whether people resign or they sign somewhere else.
look, this is an early prediction, from my point of view. But I think if we're gonna talk about winners and losers regarding signing, free agency, and everything, I believe winners most likely is gonna be WWE. A loser is gonna be AEW. I think WWE is gonna keep everybody and they're gonna sign more people. But the AEW, they might sign some people that they want to keep, but at the same time they're gonna lose people.
Here's
And
the
they,
thing, though. They're also going to release a lot of people. WWE just to look at it things a little differently. Where AEW will still, I'm sure, sign those releases. But I get where you're coming from. That WWE is still going to be looking at free agents, potential candidates. But I don't want to totally or completely discount what AEW is going to be able to do or an impact. They have been beneficial. Let's think about it. Nick Aldis from NWA, Trinity Fatu, formerly Naomi, whether they're going to stay there long term. A lot of people don't. Jordan Grace recently is not with Impact, so there's another acquisition for somebody. Whether you are a fan or not, it doesn't matter. They're still got name recognition. And think about the value if they go to a WWE or AEW. No offense to Impact, it's not that they're not getting recognized there, but think
yeah,
about the bigger companies, the options.
I know what you mean and everything, but that's just an early prediction from my point of view. It might change
No,
as
and
we
it's cool that you're predicting.
it might change as soon as we get closer and closer to 2024. But it's just like I see it that way. I see WWE winning the free agency, and I see AEW losing the free agency, because there's no doubt that Samoa Joe is gonna leave AEW. He's gonna leave AEW.
I mean, he might. There's always the what ifs. I tend to disagree.
Now,
I think it'll probably be a little more even than everybody envisions. One last question. You shared, speaking of WWE or NXT, it's all WWE related. However, is Dragunov Raw bound soon, or at least somewhere on the main roster? It may be even SmackDown. Because you said something to me off air about NXT call-ups. I mean, what's your takeaways? Are we going to see Dragunov appear on the main roster pretty soon?
all right. So, for what I heard, the talks are that Dragunov is most likely gonna go to the Raw. Now, on the other hand, I asked. I'm like, so okay, y'all had the draft, y'all did call-ups and everything. Why you doing call-ups all over again? If you were all gonna do call-ups, you should have done it everything at the draft and not do anything else for the rest of the year. Because let's be honest, it's looking like you're taking everything from NXT, and NXT is gonna start looking for more people outside, and start signing people and everything. And here's what I got. They say no, we didn't want to do everything at the draft because the fans might want to start thinking that we are just emptying NXT, that we're leaving NXT without nothing. And we don't want the fans thinking that. I'm like, well, if y'all gonna do more call-ups during the summer or sometime later on the year, is gonna look like, because y'all basically took 12 talents from NXT on the draft. 12.
Yeah, there was quite a bit. I would argue that I don't think it's going to mess up the
And
draft.
now,
I think they're looking at possibly with Dragunov. It's just he's ready. I think that's how I summarize the
and
circumstance involving him.
and this is just a little scoop in. But the talks are, whenever Dragunov goes to Raw, they want to redo Gunther versus Dragunov. They want to redo.
Oh, I'm down for it. I'm ready. After the wars they had in NXT, let's see it. And I'll tell you, after watching that Last Man Standing match, easily one of my favorite matches of the whole weekend. Kudos to NXT Battleground between Dragunov and Dijak. If fans have not seen that affair, it's one for the ages. Dijak and Dragunov, please call Dijak up soon. I mean, I'm fine with him being in NXT and Dragunov for that matter, but talk about somebody else that's, I think, ready again, like Apollo Crews, kind of similar situation, even though different presentations, rather. It doesn't have to be a last man standing match, but let's just get a regular singles match without a stipulation or any kind of gimmick. But I would be down to see Dijak and Dragunov too. I want to see Gunther and Dragunov, however it follows in the order. I don't know if it's been 2 or 3 or past those numbers now. But I'm already thinking of the kind of battles, or let's just say wars, that each of these guys can have. Maybe, hey, even if there was a triple threat, I just really, not only am I high on Gunther, but I'm very high the more I see of Dragunov and, of course, Dijak. I always loved Dijak when him and Keith Lee, back in his older character, when they were having their matches in NXT, Black and Gold. And boy, that makes us reminisce and miss and kind of take for granted the Black and Gold, what they presented. And I'm not even knocking the new version of NXT. There's a lot of just great talent present. Just to think of what can transpire between a lot of the talent if they do call up. That's how I'm kind of going in or looking at it. In other words, let me kind of correct myself with the aforementioned statement right then, is that I just think the possibilities are limitless and endless. No offense to Keith Lee's, speaking of older character, as the limitless one. But let's see Dragunov. Let's see what he can do. Maybe it's just testing out the waters. I'm going to use that analogy probably a lot now. It just is something that comes to mind. Let's see how, what they're going to be able to do to freshen up things. Even if you had a draft, it's just something to add some unique details to what you can do from a storyline point of view, and even the story within the match.
Yeah, and like I was going to say, there's going to be more call-ups from NXT, and one of the call-ups is Braun Breaker. He's going to get called up. From my point of view,
I hope he does.
From my point of view, I think he's going to go to SmackDown. I haven't heard anything yet, but I think he's going to go to SmackDown. How can I say this? It's like the perfect brand right now for him. And there's going to
that's intriguing that it seemed to be a fit according to your point of view, and who knows it. I hope it is, because you can see the talent. Braun Breaker, not only going back to his family, the Steiners, to his father Rick Steiner, in fact, Hall of Famers, but just without even the Steiners, you could see the pedigree. The guy's an athlete. He's strong as an ox. He's got all the tools, and to see him be called up on the main roster, I love that he's been in NXT and what he's been able to do. He was one of the few bright spots when they started to rebrand it and repackage it, if you will. Speaking of the newer NXT, especially when they were calling it 2.0, Braun Breaker was still green and youthful, but man, he brought some excitement. He had that raw power. You could tell the guy had an it factor. And him being heel, as much as he pulled off the babyface aspect, him being more vicious and aggressive has just been a nice change of pace. And I want to see him actually continue to be a heel if he gets called up to a Raw or a SmackDown. Let's see him bring out this nastier side, man, because that's what made the Steiners so good.
Let's see what happens, because it is still early
to
let's
say
do it. But we just gotta wait. But I do know for a fact there's gonna be more call-ups from NXT, and I don't know if you remember back before WrestleMania, I did mention that there was going to be people from the main roster going back to NXT. I don't know if you...
And hey, what happened Tuesday? You must have been prophetic, because we did see Baron Corbin attack Carmelo Hayes. I didn't even get to watch NXT, but it was all the rage on Twitter. We saw Baron Corbin.
Mustafa Ali was there. Now,
yeah, Ali. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was very surprised when I saw Baron Corbin there. I was like, what?
Corbin may need this, though. I mean, we've seen what all he can do in the feuds on the main roster. This is a good way to freshen his character up.
Yeah, but I just did not expect him to go like that. Let's let him back.
Well, they are free agents, and that is one good thing about the draft, that loophole. This is a good way to capitalize on this kind of creative concept by having a Baron Corbin or a Mustafa Ali. I hope I got that correctly or said it correctly. I've heard it pronounced many different ways, so pardon me. It's just it's a nice change of pace. So I'll just go back to that terminology. Just a good way to alter what you can do from an overall storyline basis and point of view.
You're not wrong, right? He's a free agent, but it's just like I did not expect him to go like that. It was just shocking.
Yeah, I know. Just so quickly it seemed with both those gentlemen and with both Ali and Corbin. But to challenge Carmelo Hayes, was he NXT champion during his time originally when he was more the lone wolf character, Baron Corbin, before he got the call up to the main roster?
I don't recall if he ever was NXT champion.
So hey, he's targeting Carmelo Hayes, and what if Baron Corbin can win and become NXT champion? I think it's good that he's chasing the title. I think you got to keep it on Carmelo, but that's another guy that I see being called up pretty soon. Even though I love him in NXT, I think the more I see him, he just keeps impressing me. Carmelo Hayes has got it all.
He is eventually going to get called up, all right? His name has been mentioned multiple times backstage and everything. Everybody's just impressed with his mic skill, with his ring skill.
I'm not surprised.
Everybody's impressed with him. We just got to...
It's pretty evident.
We just got to let it roll to see what happens.
Yeah, we do. We got to let this stuff unfold and unravel, as they say, but in a good way. That can also go another way. But hey, that's all I have. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add before we wrap this episode 6 of Around the Table Wrestling Scoops up.
Nah, that will be everything. We talk about everything.
I think we covered it all. You're so correct. Hey, please tell everybody, inform them where they can find you.
They can find me at Twitter, WrestlingBlog_. That's the only page I got.
And it's a great follow, by the way. Hey, plug for the insider here for the Wrestling Blog. You can also find WrestleBuddy.com on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also, just type in WrestleBuddy.com on your search engine. It pulls up all you need to know about wrestling news, similar to the Wrestling Blog. He'll have the latest wrestling news for you, so go check him out as well. That's why we make a great tag team with the WB. And actually another WB, if you think about it, the Wrestling Blog. So kind of got similar initials there. Didn't even think about it. So I'm learning something all the time, my friend. But hey, don't forget to also go follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for WrestleBuddy.com as well. We have to also do our plugs. But this is going to do it for episode 6 of Around the Table Wrestling Scoops. For Tyler Peters, he's the insider. We'll catch y'all next time.
See y'all.
Bye.